Hello, and welcome to Concepts of a Podcast. My name is Cowboy Bebop Crew.
I'm Apex Dover.
Please like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already. Also, feel free to rate us 5 stars on Spotify, comment, and answer the poll question. All right, let's get into it.
All right.
So this episode is something that's been a long time coming because you've been recommending this show for years.
Yeah.
What's the show that we're going to talk about today, Apex?
All right. So today we're going to be talking about Bojack Horseman. This may seem out of left field, but yeah. After Cowboy finally watched, he's like, "Yeah, we got to talk about this." So
yeah, the show was that good.
Yeah.
So
yeah, go ahead.
So basically, the gist of the show. Spoiler alert, by the way. So if you haven't seen the show, this is a massive spoiler alert. I'm just gonna put it out there. This entire episode is a spoiler alert. So if you haven't seen the show and you don't want to be spoiled, please back out now. Watch the show. Come back and watch the video, and then like, comment, and all that jazz.
Yeah,
all right.
And also this may have been a show that wasn't on your radar. So if you wanted an excuse to watch the show, maybe this can convince you. So. But just be aware there will be spoilers. So,
all right. So, spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So basically, the basic premise of BoJack Horseman is basically I don't even want to say like a washed up Hollywood actor who basically got famous I don't even know, years ago, and basically he's super rich, but he's like super dysfunctional as well. So he has like substance abuse issues. He has like family issues as well, family dynamic issues. He basically is kind of like a womanizer. Anything else I'm missing?
There's probably a lot more, but he was like, it's like I don't want to say a parody of a celebrity that was like famous in like the 80s and 90s, but like the show takes place in like the 2010, 2010, 2015, 16, somewhere around there.
Yep.
But like he got famous off a sitcom called Horsing Around in the like 80s or 90s, and this is his life now post Horsing Around show, and how he's dealing with just being a celebrity and rich and
maintaining his relevance.
Yeah.
Yep. But
and
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, it's like the show. It kind of just like, it's like, I don't want to say day in the life, but like, it's just a segment of his life. Like, this is his life now, post that show, and then he gets into shenanigans and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
And he has like multiple different friends who become like characters in the show, but basically the show is. It's a comedy. Don't get me wrong. There's like a lot of comedic moments. There's a lot of laughs throughout the show. But like, basically, the show is like dealing with kind of like trauma, adulthood, fame, substance abuse, and just relationships in general. Whether it's platonic relationships or it's romantic relationships or family relationships, it's basically all those things wrapped into one. And like, I think you mentioned this at some point. And I honestly kind of agree with it. You said basically it's like a good way to basically process certain things.
Oh yeah, like
just watching the show itself.
Show like comedies and dramas are like a healthy way to process certain emotions that can be a little too intense to really go through, but sometimes you can like process them, I guess, in advance through like a show that's like got all kinds of things like heartbreak or comedy or all kinds of stuff. Or grief, or
Yep. So one of the things that we wanted to talk about with BoJack was basically how it deals with substance abuse and basically addiction, right? And so there's 2 different types of addiction that I saw in BoJack Horseman. One of them is the substance abuse. So BoJack is basically abusing like alcohol. He's abusing like recreational drugs. But the other thing that he's addicted to, which I find really, really interesting how they like framed it. I feel like in the series is he's addicted to fame. He's addicted
Yeah.
to like people basically adoring him and people basically showering him with praise, right? And sometimes he goes out of his way to either make something about himself, like kind of almost like a narcissist, or basically put attention back on himself, even if it's to his own detriment sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I'm like, I feel like that's really interesting to think of like addiction to that. You know what I mean? Because that's honestly part of the reason why the show went the way it did in the end. And we'll
Yeah,
get to that.
especially in our current era of social media influencing era where like people may not be I mean some people may be addicted to it, but just the chasing of it, this constant chasing of a clout high.
And likes.
Yeah, likes and high. Yeah. I mean, for Bojack it's like it's I don't want to. I guess it's kind of an extreme example. It's more like a outlier because he's a celebrity and stuff. So, yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
But yeah, I think the other thing that I thought was interesting about BoJack Horseman is so in grad school I learned about something called the Transtheoretical model of behavioral change, which basically is kind of like a model for how people go about changing themselves, right? So there's 5 phases of this model. It's pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, and maintenance, right? And so throughout the entire series, you kind of see him go through all of these different phases. Pre-contemplation is basically you're not aware that you have an issue, right? Contemplation is you're aware that you have the issue, but you have no real intention to like or any action towards changing it. Preparation is that you're committed to the change, but you haven't quite done it yet. Action is you're doing the change, and then maintenance is basically continuing to prevent yourself from falling back into the previous behaviors.
you have like insight. And you're like you need to work on it. It's like at this point you're like, you're aware like this is what it takes for me to maintain. Yeah, maintenance basically, but
Yeah, this is what
maintain
it
my
takes.
change.
Yeah, the energy basically that you have to put into it to prevent yourself from literally backsliding. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I think that that's like you see all of that through Bojack. Bojack in the beginning is completely oblivious to like his own issues. He basically plays off or blames other people for his problems. I think maybe around season is it maybe 4 or 5, he starts
Yeah.
gaining insight, and I think
Yeah.
by season 5, spoiler alert, he ends up going to rehab, right?
Yeah, he's in pre-contemplation for a majority of the show, and it's kind of like I feel like he kind of acknowledges like the contemplation. There's a little overlap for him because he's aware of it, but he's not like insightfully aware of it. I guess he's like not like aware of it to the extent like I need to change this. He's just like he's kind of aware of it in the sense that like people tell him it's a problem, but he doesn't believe it. I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the other piece of it is there's one point that I thought was really, really interesting for the, like, again, is this being a cartoon and not only a cartoon, but like a comedic cartoon. The fact that
Yeah.
when Bojack is in rehab in season 5, one of the things that he talks about is about what he's afraid to leave rehab because he's afraid that he's going to basically backslide back into his old behaviors and basically become the old Bojack, right? And that's 100% a real thing. You know what I mean? Like people who, for example, drink excessively or smoke cigarettes and they're trying to quit. A lot of these people have to get out of that environment in order to basically maintain their behavioral change, right? So, like for example, like I have family members who used to smoke cigarettes, and they tell me at this point, even now, they basically have to get out of situations where people are smoking because, again, it could sometimes trigger them to like or entice them to go back into it. You know what I mean? Or same thing for like drinking. People go to Alcoholics Anonymous. They change their environment. They get around people who are like on a similar path as themselves, trying to like maintain this change and help each other maintain this change. You know what I mean? Same deal. But like, it's just interesting that the show tackled that concept of somebody who's like literally afraid to fall back into their previous behaviors and afraid that their environment that they're in is not suitable for them maintaining it.
Yeah, I mean, just in general with BoJack Horseman, I just, even though it's a cartoon and even though it's like based in this alternative reality, I love how real the show is. Like that's probably one of my favorite things about it. It's like it feels so real, even like based on like the references to our own society and culture and stuff. Like it feels very real, despite how fantastical it is. But also like as far as the substance abuse and addiction stuff goes, it's like what was I gonna say? It's I was gonna say what was it? I was gonna say something, but I can't remember what it is. Whatever. But yeah, we can go on.
Yeah. The other thing that I thought was a real, I guess, discussion, even as short-lived as it maybe was spoiler alert. There's a character named Diane, right? And basically, kind of, she's one of Bojack's friends. She's like a Vietnamese American woman who basically is a writer. And by the end of the show, she's trying to like write a book, right? And so one of the things that she's struggling with is depression. And so she's in a relationship, and basically, her partner basically realizes that she's becoming increasingly depressed, right? And so basically, her partner recommends that she start taking an antidepressant. And one of the things that she mentions is she's afraid to take this antidepressant because of the changes that might happen to her personality or to her body by doing so. Like, FYI, it's commonly known that like if you get on certain antidepressants, weight gain is a side effect, right? So basically, she's concerned that like her partner might not find her as attractive if she gains this weight on this drug, one. And then two, she's afraid that her personality might change substantially to a point where she might not be the same Diane that she was before she took the medication. And like honestly, again, that's a very real conversation to have in this medium, especially become like, again, this is a cartoon. These are characters that are like, I mean, I don't want to say not as real as like a live action show, but like they feel as real as a live action show because they're tackling a lot of major realistic issues and complications that people normally have to deal with. But basically, the long and the short of it is, she ended up basically realizing that her partner cared about her well-being, and that basically tackling her depression was basically making forward progress. So she ended up taking the SSRI or taking the antidepressant or whatever, and then she ends up gaining the weight, and she realizes that her partner is still there for her. You know what I mean? So like it's like I can't even think of a show off the top of my head that like that became a discussion. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, wow,
That's a good
like
point. Yeah,
BoJack hitting hard, man.
Yeah, it's like and BoJack. I mean, I guess on some level, I guess it could go there because it's a Netflix original, so they could just do what they wanted to. Yeah. But yeah, it does a really good job of like depicting and addressing and just showing depression or all the other issues that it shows throughout the show too.
Yeah, or Princess Carolyn, and literally like, didn't she have a miscarriage? I think it was.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like even with her, like and like I sat there and I cringed when I watched her fall out with the mouse guy that she was dating at the time.
Was it Ralph?
It might have been. I can't
remember. It might have been something with an S.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about though.
Yeah, but she fell out with that guy. And I cringed. I was like, oh, God, like, this dude has your back, bro. Like, no. And you see her fall out, and she can't explain because, again, she's going through the trauma of, like, losing the child and losing her chance at having a child. I'm just like, oh, my God, this is too real, bro.
Yeah.
Like...
There's a lot of real stuff in there with, like, even, like, myself, I can't relate to everything. But I feel like most people, especially as you get older, you're going to find something you can relate to in the show. Like, it's we're not sponsored or anything, but it's definitely, like, it's relatable.
Feel free
There's going to be something you can relate to. What'd you say?
I said, feel free to sponsor us.
Yes.
We will promote your content.
But yeah, it's a great show. Yeah, but yeah.
All right, so... On another note, who is your favorite character or favorite characters and why? Just curious.
Normally I can usually pick out a character, but like it's really hard with this show. I guess I would probably settle on like Diane, because like she's probably the most relatable, like the character I can probably relate to the most, and also she seems pretty cool. But there's a lot of really good characters, and the show even has no qualms about introducing fully fleshed out characters later in the show, just because they're necessary for the plot. It's like, but I think I like Diane the most. I think, yeah, I think I like her the most because she's like the most relatable. But I mean, there's ton of great characters. Like Todd is great, and Todd's great because he just always gets into shenanigans and stuff. And it's like, you just wonder how has he gotten by for so long.
Failing
Carolyn's
upward.
pretty great. Yeah, failing upwards. There's just a ton of great characters, but I think I would probably settle on Diane because just purely on relatability.
Yeah. Yeah,
What
same.
about yourself?
I'd probably say it's between Diane and Princess Carolyn. I think both of them are very, very well developed characters, and you see all the changes they go through, and like, I think one of the other things that I feel like was really important with both Diane and Princess Carolyn is basically the importance of setting up boundaries, right? So again, spoiler alert for Bojack Horseman. We've been talking about this for almost about 16, 17 minutes now. But spoiler alert, Princess Carolyn at the end of the show, basically, you end up finding out that she's been kind of in love with Bojack this entire time. And that's kind of the reason why she stuck around. And so at the end of the show, she ends up getting married to one of her, I guess, assistants, who's kind of been in and out throughout the series, named Judah. And basically, at the end of the show, you see her basically put up a very firm boundary with Bojack. And same thing for Diane. Like, I think basically I think most of the characters, Todd does it too. I think at one point.
In the end, at least by the end, Todd does it as well.
Yeah.
And Hollyhock is spoiler, but Hollyhock who he thought was his daughter turned out to be his sister.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, boundaries are definitely important, and especially like if it's for your own health, or if it's your relationship, or if it's for, I don't know, whatever reason, like you have to protect yourself. Like sometimes, like there are people who will either take and take and take, or there are people that will basically continue to damage you despite like your relationship with them. So you have to like create some distance. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's very well done basically throughout all the characters of the show, because they kind of are like, we've seen your pattern of behavior, you keep going in these cycles. They kind of like, I think Todd by the end kind of like changes his relationship to Bojack. He doesn't completely cut him off, but he kind of like changes how he interacts with Bojack by the end. And I'm like, man,
He gives him kind of like less access to himself, and
yes,
I'm
like, that's super cool to see.
What else is there to say about it? I mean, the show's BoJack Horseman, but a lot of the characters get plenty of a lot of characters and character types and issues get plenty of representation inside and outside of BoJack. But like, it's interesting how, like BoJack doesn't take up too much of the screen, of the screen time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really, really good show.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anything else you want to talk about with BoJack?
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, it's a great show. Like it's one of my favorite shows like ever. I think I've watched it like 3 times by now. But it's a really good show. It's super funny, super relatable, great way to like process some emotions, and yeah, it's a great show.
Yeah. 100% recommend it. If you made it this far into the video, watch BoJack Horseman. Watch it again if you've seen it already. It's really, really good.
Yeah. So, all right. So, you want to close this out here?
All right. So, again, like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. Give us 5 stars on Spotify, comment, and then also do the poll on Spotify as well. That's basically the episode. If you have anything that you want to say, throw it in the comments. But yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
All right. I'm Apex Dova.
I'm Cowboy Bebop Crew.
All right,
Take
we're
it easy.
out.